Now, without further ado, somebody who needs no introduction. This, for many years, was the queen of the advertising community, and now she's become the queen of big tech. Please give a big round of applause to ex-CEO Linda Yaccarino. Linda, you are so busy, so we are very grateful for your time today.
I didn't know we were kicking off the whole thing. Very exciting. Hi, everybody.
Kicking off the whole
Happy
thing.
Hi.
Seeing all of our friends.
Yeah.
Linda, you cannot talk about live entertainment without talking about X. Everything live happens first on X. It's captured first on X. And one of the things that made me the most excited about talking to you was I'm a huge New York Jets fan, which is devastating, I know.
Oh my goodness, we share the same miserable life.
Matthew Hiltzik too. It's just really difficult. But I noticed this year that you all had built an NFL portal. And so my question to you was, to what extent should we be expecting X to start building out more of these sort of entertainment hubs? Is that something we should expect now moving forward for the MLB, for the entertainment award shows? What's the plan?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's nice to see everybody. And also, thank you for talking about the actual secret sauce of the power of X. And that's where the real-time conversation happens only, right? So you have the conversation back and forth. And that's super important. And that's why Fandom lives on the platform, right? So if you think about the power of sports, even here at Cannes, I was thinking about it yesterday, driving up and down La Croisette, and there's sports is just an overwhelming theme because of the global popularity and familiarity. And sports and X are intertwined, right? So in 2024, there were nearly 4 trillion impressions about sports on X. 4 trillion. And it's not just any impressions, it's lean-in impression. We know how passionate we all are, frustrated sometimes, like the Jets, but we are all passionate about our teams that live here, right? So the fandom and the heart of sports is intertwined and actually inextricably linked on X. It's why when we think about our tremendous partnerships that we have with leagues like the NFL and the NBA, that when we wanted to create and launch our portals, which think about it as the singular place to aggregate global conversation, every league, every team, every athlete, every publisher, every piece of video, all contributing to these portals. That's why they were so successful. And we actually soft launched it last year at this time with the Paris Olympics. So obviously it would be logical to imagine that the pipeline of what's to come to aggregate this fandom across the world will continue. And it's a great opportunity. Obviously it's a deep, deep opportunity, very fulfilling and personalized for the fan. But then for our advertising partners, they come and follow. Because when you think about it, when I told you all the people that are participating, every network, every streamer, every publisher, all contributing the content, because when you participate or when your fan lives on X, the sports is 80% incremental reach to your TV or streaming content. So if you can take the limited nature, it's still big, on the broadcast and streaming, and add 80% incremental reach to that experience, you've got a really happy fan, and you have just as happy advertisers. So it's really great.
Let's talk about the advertiser opportunities. So obviously, you have premier advertising partnerships through Amplify, and that's basically where premium publishers, leagues can come in, and they can essentially ensure that they can team with premium advertisers around this type of content. What else is the advertiser opportunity that you are out here pitching in Cannes to folks around live?
Oh my goodness, there's so much. I think you ask a really good question though, because there's no other platform that can capitalize on live. And what I mean by that, by bringing together in real time the person who's consuming any of that content and be able to participate is X, right? We know that. No argument there. So because of the impact and the leadership position we've taken with AI, with the company and driving innovation, we have a new product that's been out in the marketplace called Trend Genius. So think about what the question you asked, the power of live. And Trend Genius capitalizes on that. It takes advantage of the real-time conversation that was never able to be done before. So X is known as its trends, right? For the trends. What's happening? If you think about X is both a mirror and a microphone of global conversation in real time. So when a trend kicks in on the platform, what happens, we have a product, an ad product, with pre-negotiated KPIs or parameters or environments, right? Completely protected and safe. And there's subject matter that kicks in a trend that meets all of those. The content of their starts trending on the platform, and the advertisement that meets those requirements gets automatically infused into the timeline. The timeline's live, right? So I'll give you a good example to visualize. So a couple of months ago, I think it was about 6 months ago, Bradley Cooper was spotted at a Taylor Swift concert with Travis Kelce in a box. You can't create a better trend moment, right? So all of a sudden on the platform, which by the way, data point for everyone to know, Bradley Cooper on average gets 1 post a second globally on the platform, outside of this situation. That's a big responsibility. So people started trending. They started trending. Bradley Cooper's a Swiftie. Bradley Cooper's a Swiftie. Well, we have a really strong relationship with LVMH. Bradley Cooper is an influencer for LVMH. And immediately when that trend reached the threshold, the Bradley Cooper copy or ad got infused and incorporated right into the timeline while the trend was raging. So your content of your advertisement actually becomes the content because it's so natural, organic, and part of the public discourse at such high trends. The great thing about Trend Genius is you ride the wave, and then when it starts to hit the floor, that's pre-negotiated and the trend cools down, the campaign pauses. Maximum ROI, maximum contextual impact, no fat in your plan. It actually is, I call it the holy grail of advertising, right? The best ad product I've ever seen because it's right ad, right time, right place, at scale.
When we think about X's relationship with advertisers, you have these incredible products that you're going to market with, but there's also chatter around just broadly how you're managing the relationship with advertisers. There was a Wall Street Journal story out recently that basically alleged that one of the things that you and Elon Musk were doing was sort of pressuring advertisers. The headline of that story was X's sales pitch: give us your ad business or we'll sue. It cited 6 advertisers that have felt this pressure from you. Is that story true?
Does anyone still read that publication?
I do.
Because I saw at the beach they were giving it away for free this morning, so that probably says something. Listen, it's really, having a paper like that cover X is like taking a horse and buggy to cover a rocket ship. So what I would say is let's concentrate on the facts of the story. And the facts that were painfully absent were that this started out by evidence that was revealed by the House Judiciary Committee. Forgot about that part, right? And the House Judiciary Committee and the government continue to investigate into an even broader probe about an organized boycott. I maybe that the editor, I don't know, lost that in the reporting. And what was also surprising to me and really disappointing was that there were no named sources and there were some random third parties that commented. And what is really, interesting to me is that, is that where journalism has us today? So what I would say is that what we're here to talk about today, and probably what fuels this type of salacious clickbait article, is the historic turnaround of X. And I mean historic, because many predicted that we wouldn't be in the position that we are today, right? Strong growth, quarter after quarter after quarter. 300 products shipped since original acquisition. Now merged with the most fastest growing, smartest AI company on earth, with having Grok power the timeline, influencing content recommendation, content moderation, and search. So that is something exciting to talk about.
I want to talk about that for sure, but just to make sure I'm hearing you loud and clear, the article then is not true?
Listen, I'm not one of those reporters who wrote that article with unnamed sources. You should probably have them up here to talk about how that was considered a complete article. But, you know, we're used to it.
When it comes to that type of relationship, I do think there is this weird tension between, you know, managing the relationship with advertisers in a new...
Sarah, I just told you that the company is experiencing a third consecutive quarter of historic revenue growth, the historic turnaround of the company. So, you know, folks like that, because if you look at the trajectory of where that particular, because you keep asking about them, that particular publication is going, you know, the future is quite unnerving. They're probably worried about what's next for themselves.
Well, I was going to say, you have this one side where you have the advertiser relationships reported there. Then you have this other side where you're here in Cannes, you're talking about innovation. What is the innovation that is resonating the most right now? We talked about the new live product. Is it Grok? Is that what the advertisers right now are really excited to hear about? Is it video?
First of all, they're excited about a lot of things. So you think about, you know, I just hit my 2-year anniversary at the company. And when I started at the company, I only ever talked to Elon about one thing, and that was transitioning Twitter to become X, the everything app. And for the last 2 years, as I said a few minutes ago, we've launched 300 new products, both user enhancement and brand enhancements, right? So when I first started, there was maybe a minute or two of video capability. And back then, I think it used to be 140 character messaging app, then it became 280 at acquisition. And now, think about all the investment in video, up to 4 hours. 4 hours in 4K, you can post to the platform. Imminently, literally imminently, could happen during this talk, it's going to be unlimited video, right? In the US, we're about to launch X Money. You've seen the enhancements with X Chat for premium users, off the charts capability. So think about what we're doing. Instead of getting distracted by clickbait noise, you're thinking about more people coming to the platform to spend more time to do more things. You know, soon you're going to be able to live your whole financial life on the platform. Peer-to-peer payments, stored value, pay a creator, watch a pay-per-view. I mean, come on, we're talking about what's next, not what stuff you talk about. It's like a fantasy of the past. So I wouldn't be here spending jam-packed 5 days if we didn't have tremendous partners along with us.
But so I guess the question is, like, what's the thing that is it the video product? Because, like, I know you're announcing a video podcast with the Williams sisters. Is it Grok? Like, what are if we have marketers in the room right now, what are the big takeaways?
Here's what they're interested in. They're interested in all of the things. It's under everyone's nose for the last 2 years. We have truly built the everything app. It's video. I don't know how many people know this, but the extraordinary growth that's happening at X right now is being driven by Gen Z. Gen Z, because of that explosive growth in video, that's up 40% versus year ago, is what's driving the growth. And Gen Z, by 2030, is going to have a $36 trillion spending power. That's what advertisers are listening. That's what they're interested in. Hang on. And when you combine that with the no surrogacy for the real-time conversation, that's the secret sauce that an advertiser is looking for, because it's not available anywhere else.
Yep. On the real-time conversation, Axios reported this a few weeks ago. Very interesting development coming out of your product team, where essentially X is looking to elevate more conversations around things that people actually agree on and that people have shared interest on. How should we be thinking about that new experiment? Is this more of the direction X wants to go in?
I don't know if I would call it an experiment. I would call it a very sophisticated evolution by the impact of the unique AI capabilities that our company has, right? So if Grok is powering the timeline right now, anyone who's a big user on the platform, and I know you are, Sarah, so thank you for that, you noticed how incredibly good it has gotten because it is becoming such a specifically talented at targeting and giving you, recommending to you what you want. So it'll be the #1 recommendation engine in the world, and that's what makes the user experience so good. So when you see that, people often say, I need, my algorithm is getting better. It's because we're serving them exactly what they're looking for.
And when you think about the opportunity with Grok, right now I think about AI a lot of times with chat assistants. That's how we communicate often as consumers. Is the idea that you're going to be powering Grok mostly for your own platform, or is the idea that one day Grok can help directly support some of your users with things like chat assistants, with things like search and discovery?
I think you'll see many, if not all of those things you're describing. What's really important for the audience here to know, if you're not familiar with what Grok is. So less than 2 years ago, a company called X AI was born, right? And out of X AI, that's an AI company that created Grok, our AI model, right? So the really important thing for you all to know in this room, XAI less than 2 years old, Grok barely 1 year old. The difference of Grok versus every other product out there, ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Llama, is that yes, Grok is trained on all of the same publicly available information, but it is the singular model that is trained on the real-time data of real-time data of X. Imagine that. Imagine that profound differentiator. That is why Grok is growing faster than any other of its competitors. Why is it growing so fast? Because it is fueled by the biggest data center in the world that was stood up in 122 days with 100,000 GPUs, 92 days after that, more than double. So Grok 3.5 is about to drop, and it will be the smartest model in the world. What does that mean? That means that the growth and innovation of Grok will be able to deliver to both consumers and to enterprise companies. Imagine if you're a CMO in this room, a CEO for any business sector company. Think about how much an enterprise relationship with XAI, with X, via Grok can help you, because you're the only one that will have all of the same information that the other guys have, but there's latency there. Only one that has the real-time conversation. Impact trends, impact predictions. For R&D, extraordinary. Imagine what you're going to be able to do with data that no one else has.
And just to clarify, when you say it's the biggest, you mean it's because it's linked to...
It's the most powerful.
Most powerful, okay.
Most powerful, fueled by the biggest supercomputer in the world called Colossus out of Memphis, Tennessee.
And so we only have a few minutes left. One thing I want to just get your reflection on, you're an industry leader. You've been to, I don't want to know how many cans Linda Yaccarino has been to.
I was a young child when I started.
I just want your honest take on how you've seen the industry evolve. Like, has it evolved for the worse, for the better? You're kind of coming in from a different lens now. You're not coming in from the
it's so
publisher
interesting
side.
that you asked me that. One of my good friends and clients last night asked me the same exact question. Because she was with me during the time, it was probably 10 years ago or so, maybe a little more than that, when I was in my position at Comcast NBC Universal, and I wanted to bring the company for the first time to Cannes. And it was the first, and it was very provocative back then, oh my Lord, for NBCU, only because I was probably asking for a big budget to come here. But it was the first time a traditional media company was coming to Cannes. But I felt really strongly back then, and yes, like Meta and Google and all the ad tech companies had kind of started to grow in participation in Cannes. But I thought to myself, you have this giant footprint of premium content, and data was certainly going to influence the consumer experience, but quite frankly, we had to like bust out beyond like broadcast cable. Peacock wasn't even born then. So I thought to myself, oh gosh, we better skate to where the puck is going right now. So we did it back then, and then now, look where I am years later to be here. So I think what started out as a really pure celebration of creativity, which I think has been so beautiful over time and is still so big and prevalent and at the heart center of Cannes. But I think what's really important about the participation of whether it's the ad tech companies or certainly social media platforms, because we need to enhance that experience for the consumer. And if you don't respect that experience for the consumer, you're really not going to be successful at anything you do. So that's what I spend a lot of my time here doing. What can I do in service to our users on the platform at the intersection of the beautiful creativity that we serve them? It's got to be right. It has got to inspire action. And we're in a business that's sight, sound, motion. I always say emotion as well. And that's what's so great about this week.
And money coming up soon. Okay, Linda, we're out of time. One quick fun thing. Obviously, Elon Musk out of my city of Washington, D.C. Elon Musk, you might have heard of him. Should we expect him to be more involved day-to-day in X now that he's leaving Doge behind?
Well, I will tell you that he never wasn't involved. He was always present.
He was definitely always posting.
Still, 2 years later, I am still astounded by that man's availability to me. Imagine that, right? So I think if you saw, he posts a lot. He was in the XAI offices all weekend, particularly Saturday, which included his mom and other special guest stars. But the work never stops. That's why the historic turnaround of X has happened. Because when I joined the company, I wanted to do two things. I wanted to help protect free speech around the world, and I wanted to join with him and prove the importance of the most important cultural signal on earth to become even more successful. And happy to report, all's good.
I really appreciate you, Linda. I think coming on stage, talking to a journalist, taking tough questions, it's never an easy thing, but you always show up and you always deliver. So we really appreciate you. Thank you to the X team who's here with Linda. And by the way, thank you all so much for joining this conversation. I don't want you to go anywhere yet, though, because my colleague Carrie Flynn is up next with Mountain CEO.
Thank
Mark
you,
Douglas.
everybody. Appreciate you.